does is it takes the power to control the creation of money away from the bankers and gives it to us when we take over Congress with our just occupying it, uh, which we can do. We just go to Washington and just set out and be homeless and and go to our congressmen's offices every day and talk to them. And they'll resist us. They won't want to talk to us. But uh, if you learn how money's created, you'll be able to outtalk any of them, even their best economists. The NEAT Act is a legislation uh, that was introduced into Congress in 2011 uh, by Dennis Kucinich, a congressman from Cleveland, Ohio, uh, who started, he was an older guy then, but he started out, and he's a little older now, but he's not as old as I am, because I'm fucking 80 years old. Uh, uh, he, uh, he started out his political career fighting the bankers in Cleveland who were trying to take over the power company, the city owned power company that they were using the profits from to help the poor in Cleveland. And the bankers tried to take it over, and he beat them. Now he's introduced legislation that'll beat the bankers forever for good. It takes their power to create money away from them. Uh, First, it does three things. It nationalizes the Federal Reserve, puts it in the Treasury, where it needs to be under the direction of the executive. Right now, the Federal Reserve is owned by the member banks, and they're commercial banks that make their loans, making car loans and business loans and really high finance business loans. J.P. Morgan Chase owns almost 50% of the stock in the Federal Reserve System. So guess what? Uh, uh, Diamond, the chairman of Chase Manhattan, all he got to get one or two friends to vote with him, and he's got the vote, and he's on the board of the Federal Reserve. And so we want to do three things. We want to nationalize the Federal Reserve, put it in the Treasury, so that the president has control of it. And then uh, we end their power to create money, their fractional reserve banking system. If you've been to university, you've seen this damn thing they have where a bank only has to have 10% of the money in reserves to be able to make a loan. That's actually not even true, because as soon as a loan is made, the reserves are created in the system. And if that bank needs a loan that night to cover its reserve requirement, they can borrow it. And, uh, and so, okay, we do three things. We nationalize the Federal Reserve. We end fractional reserve banking, which is what that's called. And we spend money in the economy. How about for things that we need, especially uh, us resistors and uh, and punks and hip hop guys and gals. Because I was at a hip hop party and there was a lot of gals there. They were having a good time uh, for, Sunday night. A real good time here in Norman. And look on my Facebook page and on my YouTube page, or you might be seeing this. Um, you'll see the party that we had. I did a live broadcast of it, just a few minutes, 6 minutes. And, so, okay, we nationalize the Federal Reserve. We end fractional reserve banking, and uh, then we spend money in the economy. How about for a guaranteed annual income of say $50,000 a year? Because that's what you ought to be getting minimum wage if uh, uh, if the minimum wage had kept up with the increase in productivity since the 1950s. We want to get the benefit of the increase in productivity, not just the owners. Let me get rid of this off my screen. Uh, Not just the owners uh, of businesses, but us. We should get the benefit and the increase in productivity. And that's a way to do it. We can do it through a guaranteed annual income. Okay, now, so how's money going to be paid for? It's not going to be paid for. It's going to be created. Uh, Congress has the power to create money. It delegated it to the bankers right off in 1787 when Hamilton and Washington got together and got Congress to delegate their power to create money to their friends who became our first bankers. Those bastards not only got to be the first bankers, and Washington got to be the richest man in the country. Uh, they knew that Congress was going to buy all of the debt certificates of the colonies for face value. Hmm. I think I've got somebody at the door, so hang on here just a second. Take a look at my bookcase. So I'm coming.
Hi.
Hi there.
This was in my mailbox. Can you tell me if it's yours or not?
My name's Will Decker.
Okay, this has got Will Decker, but it's got apartment 6.
Oh, okay, that's not.
Okay, what about this?
That's not.
This is, looks like Bill. No, I'd say, is that Bill Richards?
That's not me.
Okay, it says 306. I think maybe you're 7. It's up and down.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's got to be my State Farm bill. Okay, I'm back. That was a lady next door who got my State Farm bill in her in her mailbox. She didn't want to pay for it. Don't blame her. I'm new here. I just moved in public housing. Uh, 1st of July. This public housing in Norman, Oklahoma is fantastic. And because of the stimulus money, they've been doing some good improvements around here. My apartment is virtually brand new and it was built in 1982. Got a new window just put in today. For I can see out, and also it's probably got a lot of UV protection, and now I can see my TVs better. So anyway, the government does some good things. Okay, the government can do some really good things if it has the Need Act power and create money and keep the bankers from out of the out of the offices and able to bribe our congressmen because that's what they can do now. They can tell a congressman, "You do what we need, you'll never have to worry about money. Uh, we will always back you up, and we'll tell you where to invest." And and uh, and by the time you leave here, you'll be a millionaire. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice to have a job like a congressman and be able to be a millionaire? We're going to take that power to create money away from them. Here's how here's how the money's created. You want a car loan, okay? So you go in and see Charlie, your banker that you've known a long time, and say, "Hey, Charlie, I saw a new car down on the lot, and I need this car really bad." And Charlie says, "Well, sit down here, Joe. Um, uh, let's talk about this. Let me look here on the computer just a second." And he types in on the computer, and he says, "Well, Charlie, or Joe, you got good credit, so let me see. I've got to get some paperwork prepared for us." And so he does that, and they sign it, and they're all the time talking about the football game that the high school did last week and that we went to and had a good time. It was all crap. And they're teaching the boys how to be disciplined and make money for the banker. That's what they're doing. No. So they he says, okay, well, we need to sign these. So they sign the contract, and then the banker turns around to his computer again and goes, punches one button, and he creates the money right then. It's an accounting entry. That's all it is. And he says, Joe, look on your phone. So Joe looks on his phone right there. Yeah, there's the $40,000 that I need right there. Thank you very much. And that's how the money is created. That is a lot of power for a banker. The banker can decide. The bankers decide who gets money and how much. Have you ever voted for a banker and somebody said, "Well, they voted for their whatever they're called, savings banks things, credit union. They voted for their credit union guy. Actually, the credit unions are fronts for the commercial banks. That's where they get their money. Only commercial banks create money. Okay, and remember this: whoever creates money creates the culture we live in. And do we like this culture we live in, with murders at record highs, with all kinds of disturbances, with shit? We've got an armed police force that was militarily trained. That's where these guys come from. They all come from Afghanistan and things. They're too old for the Vietnam crowd. They're all my age, and we're all old and dying. And but Iraq age and the and the and that's how they think. They're military, and and we can change this whole culture. My friends, my punk friends, my hip hop friends, my stoner friends, my alcoholic friends, uh, all these things, we can take control of Congress, and it's not going to be hard. We'll camp out in Washington D.C. and have a good time, uh, live off the food bank money and in tents, and people will people will give us money to take care of ourselves. If we start doing this, they will they will come forth and donate money, and there can be an organization created just like Occupy that's going to have its uh, 10th anniversary on the 17th of this month. That's what, a couple of days from now. And so, uh, and that's how I learned about the NEAT Act. A guy named Stephen Zarlenga came to Occupy Chicago. I was watching it on a live stream because I got grandchildren in Chicago, and I thought I need to pay attention to this economic teaching. The first teacher got up. She bored me to death, just like the teachers I had at the University of Oklahoma. Except they were better back then than they are now, because I went back then. I graduated in 1964, got a degree in money and banking, and a business degree in money and banking. And, and, and then I went back after I got bailed out of my foundry by a lying ass banker that was talking to me, the best, most respected man in the community. He was lying out his ass, and I found that out in deposition hearings from the Small Business Administration. They testified to what they were doing behind my back, and when I learned that, I almost fainted and went under the table, and because I thought this man was my friend. I thought he was backing me, and he wasn't. He was backing other people. He thought he knew how to run my iron foundry, and he didn't, because it doesn't exist anymore. So, and I look around Norman here. I live in Norman, Oklahoma, And I look around and I see Decker Foundry manhole covers, and I probably delivered some of these manhole covers when I was a college boy driving a delivery truck for my dad all over Oklahoma. And so every morning that I go to the health club, I pass one right on the road that I go, and it makes me feel good. And so now I've got some other accomplishment that needs to be done, and that is the NEAT Act. It needs to be in legislation, and you're going to be able to help. It's HR 2990 of the 112th Congress. You can look it up. It's right there, and it explains in technical detail what all's done. This act has been thoroughly vetted, and it's ready for prime time. And so we can do it. And I'm going to see if I can get the hip hop kids here in Norman to start doing something that that might be able to spread all over the United States and all the similar sized cities of 100,000 people or so, and 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 people start learning about how money is created. And this book, Zarlenga wrote a book, and he's the one that told us about the, um, the the conspiracy that happened right off the back in 1778 uh, with Lincoln, with Washington and Alexander Hamilton. So anyway, that's all for now. I need to quit now, but we can. This is a revolutionary act. It takes over the United States. Revolutions have to take over ground, and we can take over the ground of the United States. And uh, uh, and when you can look on my uh, uh, this Facebook page and the wherever you're seeing this video, you can look on it. I will fill out a detailed explanation of what I've just told you and give you links to go to check it out. And if you would like a copy of the Lost Science of Money by Stephen Zarlenga, which is the most comprehensive history of money ever written, it goes back to the Paleo times. I know my friend Thaddeus Russell doesn't like anybody that says they can go back to Paleo times. Well, there's a lot of evidence of what was going on in Paleo times, Thaddeus, and and there's a lot of scholarly work on it, and it's good science. And let's occupy the NEAT Act. Bye now.